From the cornfields of Iowa to the Music City, Nerd TV is proud to bring you coverage for race number 4 of the Full Throttle Sim Racing Martin Sports Truck Series, live from the 1.333-mile concrete trioval in Lebanon, Tennessee, from the Nashville Superspeedway. This track opened back in 2001 and has hosted all 3 NASCAR National Touring Series and closed back in 2011. But as of 2021, it has returned to the NASCAR schedule and also iRacing. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jason Rockfell, alongside my color analyst and producer, Dustin Longston, ready to bring you guys some action here from the Music City. Jeremy Stanley, usual lead announcer, couldn't make it tonight. Unfortunately, some circumstances with his PC going on. But, hey, we're here still, man. I'm sure Jeremy's going to be tuning in here. And for all the fans at home, welcome to the virtual Nashville Superspeedway. Dustin, how are we doing tonight, my friend?
Oh, doing fantastic. Glad to be back. We've had a little bit, about a week and a half off from broadcasting. Back again. We had the holiday going on, so back again for racing. And like you said, back to Nashville. We went from the cornfields of Iowa, my neck of the woods, now around Tennessee. This track always poses some amazing racing, though. It's going to be fantastic. I mean, it has so many aspects of tracks that I like. It's got the aspects of a mile and a half. At the same time, though, it's got that concrete surface, so it gives you that feeling of Dover, which I always enjoy running as well. So good side-by-side racing. It should be a damn good show tonight.
Yeah, and actually a little fun fact, too. This track actually used to be owned by Dover Motorsports, Inc., I believe it was called. They also own Dover Motor Speedway. They were then incorporated by SMI. That's why Dover is no longer Dover International Speedway. It is now Dover Motor Speedway, but Nashville continues to be Nashville Superspeedway. But we're here tonight. Dustin talked about it. It's that 1.333-mile trioval concrete. It's got that feel to it, just like Dover, but drives like a mile and a half. Dustin, you're going to have to make sure that you keep that right front tire on the truck tonight. Regardless, the right rear is still going to shred, but you got to make sure you can hook that bottom or hook whatever line you want to be. Don't move around in the center, because the more you move around, the more you slide off the corner, the more you're going to hurt that right front tire, and the more it's going to be, super, super hard on that medium to long run range, where you're going to be stuck in traffic, you're not going to be able to move around, and you're just going to be hoping and praying for a caution. And not to mention the fact, 150 laps tonight, 40 laps when they go to lap 40 will be the stage break, and they only have 3 sets of tires tonight. Dustin, how do you think that's going to play a factor if, in fact, we do get X amount of cautions, let's say like 3 or 4 early on before the end of the race? These guys only got 3 sets, so they got to use them wisely.
Yeah, they do, and that's something that FTSR has changed, and they modified their tire set rules for the 2023 season to make it more competitive. They wanted to bring in that aspect of having drivers have to really think about when they use it. The FTSR is known for longer runs. We have a lot of races that the stage break is the only yellow flag that we see. Poor Roasted Gems, they don't get the shout out that often, but they're going to have to be smart. You're going to have to utilize it. And I think the drivers that are going to finish at the end there, up in the top spot and the podium that we'll talk to in post-race, those are going to be the drivers that save those tires for the long haul and utilize them to have them later on in the race. That's where it's going to count. You don't want to see a situation, to where you use them up too soon. Next thing you know, you're on a long run, because like you said, this surface here, if not done right, can chew through those tires. And trust me, these drivers carry more speed off into those corners than what you think at this 1.333-mile track. And you don't want that right front tire to give way and shoot right up that track, because this wall is not forgiving.
Isn't forgiving. And speaking of unforgiving, last week, the Fury Motorsports drivers, Bertie Hanna and Bobby Terrell, they last week dominated the race at Iowa, and then a caution during the middle of the green flag cycle ended up cutting their strategy, their race short practically. All hell broke loose, and then TJ Bartell in the 75 machine was able to steal a win away last week at Iowa, had a shocking top 5. We had TJ Bartell, Ricky Curtis Vollmer finishing second, Marshall Johnson third, Alan Duranko fourth, JP Burns fifth. A shocking top 5. Some of those guys were mixed out throughout the top 10, top 5, but tonight very well could be another Iowa situation, Dustin, where we might see a late race yellow because this track is known to have extensive long green flag runs. And if that were to happen and we do get that yellow, we could be looking at another Iowa finish.
Very well could be. And the thing to remember from the last race that we did was Iowa was set up, and the reason why that whole situation happened was different pit strategies and tire usage on that. You know, we had different tire usage that happened, and those drivers that stayed out were on their last set of tires, which is what locked the field down. So again, pit strategy, buddy.
And pit strategy obviously going to be a factor here tonight. And here we go. Qualifying is getting ready to begin. These guys have 5 minutes to post a lap time up on the board right here. I believe this is the 42 of Kyle Milliken we're looking at right now as he heads his way into turn number 3. This is going to be for his outlap here, Dustin. So he's going to want to make sure to get a really nice exit off 4 here. He's going to want to make sure he's going to hook that bottom in 1 and 2 and also 3 and 4.
Yeah, and one thing to remember too is this track here, going through that that front stretch there past the start-finish line, it is not going to be uncommon. You're going to see drivers utilize that that apron down there, very, very reminiscent of what you would see at a Kansas or a Kentucky or a Vegas, you know, going down there as well. So there's going to be varying lines here. Now, how that's going to affect the drivers, because this is an open setup. Some trucks, you know, they're comfortable down there. Other ones, when they, you know, leave that racing surface and hit that apron, it upsets them. So it's going to be a gamble.
Yeah, and it's also really tight down there. Kyle Milliken goes to the top of the board right now. Only one to post a lap time, 29.945 for the driver of the number 42 F-150. Other drivers starting to post some lap times, but nobody as quick as Kyle Milliken right now. But as I probably say that, somebody's going to jump up here in just a second. But Dustin, you bring up a really good point. That front straightaway, that little tri-oval, it's not really that banked. When you head through the front straightaway, only 9 degrees of banking for a tri-oval. Usually those tri-ovals are wider, they're flatter, or if you're Daytona and Talladega, they are way, way, way more banked. As you see Kyle Milliken, he's done. Here's TJ Bartell. But you got to be careful. Don't get on that apron because you can get tight, you can get loose, and next thing you know, calamity can happen down the front straightaway. But here we go. TJ Bartell, we talked about it during pre-race before we went live on the air. TJ Bartell supporting us fellow nerds up here in the booth, and also the nerds all over the place there in that Toyota Tundra. He's driving the beautiful Nerditudes paint scheme. I absolutely love that. It reminds me of the Incredible Hulk for sure.
Incredible Hulk, or you can even say the Joker as well. It's got the bright green and purple on there. The only thing it's missing is a little bit more of a touch of red rather than, you know, just from that Toyota symbol. But we always get a lot of love and support from a lot of the drivers here. We always see drivers run Nerditudes as a sponsor, and we love it. We fully support it. And we love giving shout outs to everybody. So, I mean, again, should be a good race right now. Brannigan is on your top spot. He did knock the 42 of Milliken off of that that top spot there. So, again, still some fast times, though. I mean, you look at lap times. Brannigan, 2/10, almost 2/10 faster, holding that top spot at a 29.77. And Cody McKinney, who officially is our in-race driver. We have cockpit cam and everything else presented by iRock 93.5. He just posted up a 29.89, puts him P2 on the board right now.
And that rounds him up to a 29.9 flat right there. There's your in-race reporter, car guy, whatever you want to call him. That 28 machine is going to be bad fast tonight, but Mark Brannigan Jr. really setting the pace. Rookie tonight, also 5th in the points right now, only 34 points back here in the Season B standings. And here's Mr. Bobby Terrell, one of the guys who dominated last week, ran in the top 5 to top 10, led some laps along with Brody Hanna. Unfortunately, Bobby's race was pretty much ended due to that late race yellow. There you go. You see Cody McKinney wiping the sweat off his eyes. He knows. He's like, man, I just posted a really, really fast lap time. And I believe, if I'm correct as well, Dustin, excuse me, that's Ryan Chapman right there below.
That is Ryan Chapman, yes.
Yeah, it is Ryan Chapman. I know that because I just know that angle. We watched him struggle at Gateway weeks ago in the Cup car. Last weekend, he said he was having a blast and unfortunately came up just a little bit short. Got spun on the last lap going into turn 1. He was heated in the chats on the Discord channel for these FTSR guys. Apologized, said he was just angry. It's racing. But hey, that's what you got to do, man. You pick up and you just got to leave with it, man. Unfortunately, that's just how racing goes. And unfortunately, that very well could be the circumstances for maybe one or maybe both of these drivers we're looking at right now.
Yeah, and it very well could be, but I mean, that just tells you the level of emotion that these drivers put in here. I mean, all these drivers get in here, they get together, they race to have fun, but I mean, they put a lot of time in. You know, we've heard drivers. Believe Jeff Chandler was the one that sat here and stated it the most, that he ended up putting in 700 laps at a track for practice. So I mean, there's emotion that follows with these drivers.
Yeah, there's definitely a motion that follows with these drivers and also an emotion in every single one of these drivers. We're getting ready to grid here for just a second for the Nashville 200. Going to give you your top 10. Dustin will give you your top 20. Here we go. Starting on the pole, rookie in 5th in the points, Mark Brannigan Jr. starting P1 alongside Bobby Terrell, the Fury Motorsports driver, P2. 3rd, Cody McKinney in the 28, our in-race reporter. 4th, Kyle Milliken in the 42, set a fast lap time in qualifying. 5th, Richie Coy, one of the drivers we always look out for. Oh my goodness, he's driving another paint scheme this weekend. Wow, that's going to be hard to spot, but what a beautiful scheme. 6th, Michael Blackner in the 22 machine. 7th, Austin Gassion in the 41. 8th is Tyler Granat in the 81. 9th is Ryan Chapman, another driver with an onboard cam for us. And rounding out the top 10, he's back, fellas, Sylvain Jolly in the 08 machine.
Yeah, 11th is going to be Lane Allen in that 14. 12th is going to be TJ Bartel. 13th is going to be Colby Meese. 14th is going to be Robert Milikian. 15th is going to be Sherwood Williford in that 33. 16th is going to be Joey McKinney in that 18. 17th is going to be Justin Diltz. 18th is that 99 of J.P. Burns. 19th is going to be Tony Solari in that Menards number 11.
And sure, no Brody Hanna, so that is going to be interesting. We'll have to see how these drivers take on the race without Brody Hanna. He's been a driver who has struggled a lot this season, so he will not be here tonight. But nonetheless, this is still going to be one hell of a race here tonight for sure.
Yep. So speaking of that, it's funny you should say that, because the man himself, Mr. Brody Hanna, HB Man 23, says following along from the beach, rain show, so time to catch up on the race, go Fury. So Mr. Hanna there doing a little bit of R&R, which, you know what, we all deserve from time to time. So we wish him fun from the beach there and catch a few rays for the rest of us nerds up here, because, you know, we're nerds and we don't get a lot of rays every once in a while. So
thank you very much, Mr. Hanna. Enjoy the beach. Hopefully it's going to stop raining here, but these truckers are ready to go. Coming into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is in the air. We're racing in the Nashville 200 from the Nashville Superspeedway, and Mark Brannigan Jr. gets a heck of a start. He's already clear of Bobby Terrell and Cody McKinney as they work their way into one.
Yeah, so excellent start so far. Good, clean start. The 98 of Brannigan got an excellent jump. Moves up to the... Oh, an accident already coming off of turn 2.
Big trouble. Lots of drivers involved. So Sylvain Jolly, Sherwood Williford, believe the 27 of Ryan Chapman also involved. That's going to be your first Roasted Gems Coffee caution flag to come out for the night. There's J.P. Burns in the number 99 machine. He might have got involved. It looked like, Dustin, coming out of turn number 2, it all started from somebody getting loose on cold tires, something we forgot to mention on the start of this race, and also restarts. Cold tires play a huge dividend on these starts and restarts.
Yeah, they do, unfortunately. And I mean, that's the thing. You have to allow these tires to get some temperature up right now. Looking at Chapman, and oh man, one of our in-race reporters, it looks like the luck just continues to go in the wrong direction for Chapman. Doesn't look like it's super hard impact on that, but we got to remember we have a new damage model on these trucks as well. So this is the first race at FTSR for broadcasting with that new damage model. So this is going to be interesting on how this is going to play out and how this damage is going to lay out. But a lot of busted up trucks right now. It looks like the 22 there got loose. That's Blackner coming off the corner, and that just spearheaded the massacre going down that backstretch.
Yeah, just unfortunately a product of cold tires right there. That's one of the big things on these concrete type racetracks, whether you go to Dover, but you don't see it as much as Dover. But here, flatter surface, you see the 22 right there. Sideways, Michael Blackner in front of the field. Other drivers, Bartel clips the right rear quarter panel of Sherwood Williford. And Sherwood was going to be clear of that, and then Bartel just shot across the racetrack like a bullet out of a gun practically there off turn number 2. But nevertheless, everybody still is just running their own race right now under the first caution flag of the night here. You look at it, the 75 machine starts coming down the racetrack. Let's see what happens. Oh, he just gets ran into right there. Clips the 33, almost weight shifts the thing. Gets sideways. I want to know who was behind the
That
75.
looked like the 91 of Diltz coming up behind him there.
Yeah, Justin Diltz got into him right there. Just not enough time to react, and that's an unfortunate circumstance that sometimes it just happens. Here we go. Great look at it. Boom, right there. Not enough time to slow down for Diltz. Gets into the back of our Nerditudes Toyota Tundra TRD machine. Gets into the Taz Looney Tunes Chevy Silverado of Sherwood Williford. Unfortunate circumstances for him. But we are under the first caution flag of the day, but it looks like we are already getting ready to go back green here on lap 4 out of 150. Mark Brannigan Jr., Bobby Terrell, Cody McKinney, Richie Coy, and Kyle Milliken round out the top 5. Dustin, we didn't really make pre-race predictions, but I want to know, my friend, who do you got really winning tonight? Well, obviously, we saw a hectic race at Iowa just a handful of weeks ago, and it looks like this might be able to shape up just to be one of those races again tonight.
It could be. I tell you what, Brannigan has really been showing his muscle here over the last number of weeks. I mean, he's really been putting on a good show, finishing consistent high up. But you can't count out, series veteran Terrell. He has a championship in the truck series. And I tell you what, right now, I mean, even McKinney up there, and you can't count out Richie Coy either. But, I mean, you look at Milliken, who's been running strong. I mean, my money's probably going to go on either the 28 or the 19. They've been putting on a really good show here lately, and I've been wrong before. And I don't tell my wife, but I admit when I'm wrong. But I'm going 28 or the 19.
Well, I guarantee your wife would like to hear that. Green flag is back out in the air. The 98 gets a great push from our in-race reporter, Cody McKinney, into turn 1. They go side by side from the second to third row back. Mark Brannigan Jr., though, great run off the corner, a little bit loose. Hopefully everybody's going to be clear here down the back straightaway. They will as they work their way into 3. Battle for second, though, between McKinney and Terrell.
Yeah, and hopefully these drivers had learned something from that initial race start. Let some pressures and some heat build up in these tires. You see what happens with just a little bit of bobble because the racing is very tight at this track. This track is one that is kind of raced like a short track because a lot of the racing is tight packed. So one bobble can cause, just monumental damage to other people. So I expect them to kind of lay low a little bit, let some pressures build up, and then you're going to start seeing drivers really start moving forward. As right now, you can see that top 5, Jason, is all lined up, and really, if you go all the way back, it's almost about the top 10 right now, as you see Lane Allen trying to look on the inside there of the 81 of Granat. So really, a lot of them are lined up right now.
Yeah, Lane Allen gets a little bit tight right there through the center of 1 and 2 on the number 81 of Tyler Granat there. Could have been an issue, but they were able to save it. Lane Allen was able to stop the truck pretty much mid-center of the corner. He'll tuck back in line. Oh, and the 81 of Granat gets a little bit loose right there. That opens up the door for the 99 of John Paul Burns right there, or JP they call him. He's to the inside now of Lane Allen. Brandon Elder follows in tow behind him. Brandon had a really fast truck last week in Iowa. Started at the back just like tonight. And Brandon's already up 11 positions where he started. And wow, what a slide job pretty much by the 99 of J.P. Burns. But Brandon Elder able to get down to the bottom, and he is on his march towards the front of the field.
Yeah, the 51 Elder had an excellent truck last week. It was sad that he didn't get the finish, that he had that he deserved on that one. Because I swear, Jason, it seemed like that man had probably moved through that field about 3 different times. So, but Iowa's a tough track. It looks like he's on the right track right now, like you said, now up 12 positions from his starting position as he does complete that pass on the 99 of J.P. Burns. And you got the 5 of Hollinsworth, which, remember, Hollinsworth started in the back of the pack as well. He's working his way up as he sits right now just outside that top 10.
Yeah, he actually posted the fast lap time of the race last time around, 30.260 for Mr. Stephen Hollingsworth. That last time around for him, 30.562, so about 0.3 of a second slower. Just goes to show you there's a little bit of lap time fall off, but here we go, down the back straightaway again. Battle for second as Cody McKinney was able to take the lead. Bobby Terrell slides up just a little bit, almost gets into the 98 of Mark Brannigan Jr. That opens up the door for Mr. Haskell, New Jersey himself. That's Richie Coy in the 19 machine trying to redeem himself after a disappointing, I guess you could say, late run last week at Iowa. He ran the top 5 all night long, got spun out trying to work his way through the field on fresh tires. But here he is trying to redeem himself, currently sitting in the 4th position, and he's looking to try to make it into the podium position spot on his teammate Bobby Terrell off 4.
Yeah, I tell you what, the 19 of Richie Coy, I swear he just tries to get in the podium. It doesn't matter where. I think he just loves coming up and having a chat with the nerds. That man there is definitely a driver that's got a lot of energy, especially when you're interviewing him. But right now, if you look at the 28 of McKinney, he is just stretching out that gap right now in between himself and Brannigan, almost out to 3/4 of a second. It's still early yet. Still got, we're only working lap 12, getting ready to cross the line for 13 out of 150. But right now, McKinney out to an early lead, trying to stretch it.
Everybody's just single file right now. We talked about, Dustin, you said earlier that everybody was going to get single file, and that's very much what they have done. But the draft does play a big factor here, believe it or not. For a track that's only 1.3 miles long practically in length, there is still a little bit of a draft. But if you are a clean air like Cody McKinney, you are setting sail. Clean air is your best friend. You don't want to be in the dirty air, but you're still a victim if Mark Brannigan Jr. or Bobby Terrell are able to catch the draft. And that very well could be the case if we get a long run and maybe Cody McKinney wears out his tires.
It could be. I mean, that's the thing with this is we don't know what these drivers bring for a setup. Some drivers will prep their truck for short runs, expecting that there's going to be maybe more cautions. Some will prep them for mid runs, some long runs. I mean, we know a number of the drivers that are notorious for having stellar long run setups and long run race programs. So it's going to be interesting to see what this track is going to do to the tires. In comparison to what these drivers bring as far as a setup as well. So right now, like I said, though, still 3/4 of a second lead Cody McKinney has over that 98 of Brannigan, but Brannigan's still holding tight right now as he's got the 4 of Terrell behind him. But right now, like you said, the 4 of Terrell, he has had a mirrorful of the 19 of Richie Coy now for about the last 3 laps.
Yeah, and you saw right there, just before we swapped cameras, Stephen Hollingsworth able to pass Tyler Granat there. That was for the 9th position. But Mark Brannigan Jr. still just hanging tough in there right now. Only about 0.8 of a second back from Cody McKinney. So he's starting to lose it just a little bit. But the last time around, Mark Brannigan Jr. a little bit faster. We're going to have to see what the lap times bring us here on the SDK Gaming Live Time and Scoring Leaderboard. And across the line they go, 37.76 for Cody McKinney, 30.807 for Mark Brannigan Jr. So Cody, still fast right now, but he's not scooting away just enough. Still going to give it maybe 5 to 10 more laps, I'd say, Dustin. Then you're really going to start to see the tire wear play into effect.
Yeah, you really will. And, a lot of people ask, because they look at this and they look at the size of the track and they're like, why in the world is this called a super speedway? Well, like you said, it's one of those unique tracks that with the, the banking on it, the way the corners are laid out, that draft plays a bigger factor at this track here than it does at other tracks in similar length. It does. It drives like a short track, but has a feel of a super speedway at times. It's definitely one of those very unique establishments and circuits on the actual NASCAR and the iRacing platform, for these drivers to actually undertake.
Yeah, that's the way that I could really put it for the folks at home. I ran a couple of fixed races here back when this track came back on the NASCAR schedule. So it's been a little bit of a long time since I ran this track. I did some testing last year for a setup. I believe it was actually 14 Watson Racing setups, believe it or not. I don't exactly remember, but regardless, I still ran some test sessions here. This is the thing about this track, is you look at Lane Allen trying to pass the 22 machine right there of Michael Blackner, who's currently 4 laps down. He brings along Brandon Elder. This track, Dustin, it's not a track where it's multi-groove racing. It's really a track where it's all about consistency. It's just like Dover, and this is if Dover was a mile and a half in a sense, and that's exactly what this track is. One lane, not as much banking as Dover, but you have to be consistent and you have to keep the right front tire. This is exactly like Dover, just a bigger version. So that's where you're going to see the race won tonight, is who's the most consistent and who can save that right front tire the most, like we talked about earlier on in the broadcast.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those driver, tracks. We have mentioned it a number of times on Nerd TV in our broadcast. There are certain tracks that a driver is just drawn to. And a lot of those tracks are ones that are, like you said, a consistent track. Like, you have to get in a rhythm. They are a heavy rhythm track. So this is definitely one of those tracks that is going on. I want to hit the chats again. It doesn't look like it was too good. The head nerd in charge herself said, "Too late. I heard that. LOL. Rip to you." I think she's talking about me when I said that I am wrong from time to time and don't let my wife know. I think the cat's out of the bag there.
Yeah, it's all right. I could just call up Alfred in the Batcave and delete that. So she never heard it. It never happened. So I don't know what she's talking about. This is Head Nerd in Charge, having a great time in the chats. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into tonight's coverage here on Nerd TV. This is obviously single file right now, but you got to start thinking to yourself, Dustin, when do you start thinking, all right, this is going to be a long race, 150 laps. It seems like it's going to go by quick, and it very well could because of the long green flag run. But when do you start thinking about, when should I pit? Do I take the undercut if I'm in the back? Do I overcut? Do I wait? What would be your strategy if you get to the point to when the green flag pit stops start happening, my friend?
If it's me, knowing that the stage break is coming just in a short amount of laps right now, and I think that's why you see a lot of these drivers are really pushing it. They're trying to see how far they can push their equipment. How far is almost to the edge there to where you are doing damage and you're going to hurt yourself, and they're going to take that to the bank. And when they come out of pits after that stage break caution, they are going to know exactly, how much they have to pace themselves. They're going to know, tire wear. They're going to have more detail on that, knowing that, hey, if I pushed it that much and I have this amount of tire wear, I need to sprace those last 2 sets of tires out a little bit more. And that's when you're going to really understand, and more what these drivers are actually going to do. I mean, we do see drivers are putting down some blistering lap times right now, but again, they know that stage break's coming. So they're really pushing their stuff.
Yeah, and you talk about pushing too here, Dustin. These lap times, they've already fallen off a second now. I mean, the best lap time posted by Cody McKinney was a 30.366. His last time around was a 31.242, so he's just almost a second into that tire fall off. So we already know 25 laps in, you're going to have, and honestly, if you really want to think about it, less than 25 laps, because we had those 4 laps under caution. So about 20 laps, you're going to start to see a second of fall off. I expect there about in 15 laps, you're going to see another second of fall off. That's even if we get to the next 15 laps without a caution. But everybody right now, single file. The 2 drivers I'm really keeping an eye out. We actually were just viewing one of them, Brandon Elder, Stephen Hollingsworth, both of them 14 spots from where they started. So Brandon Elder trying to do what he tried to do last week, but ultimately couldn't. And you said it perfectly earlier, Dustin. That man must have drove from the back to the front at least 3 different times. And he's bringing Stephen Hollingsworth along with him as well.
Yeah, both of those, they are right now tied for your biggest movers of the race, like you said, at 14 positions apiece. And they're trucking through. And like you said, that tire fall off, 20 laps in, we're already falling off a second from the fastest lap time on fresh tires. And you better believe that these drivers are taking note of that. That way they can try to, in their head, calculate out how far they can stretch this. You know, it's a strategy thing. From the drop of the green flag to the drop of the checkered flag, it is a strategy from start to finish, and these drivers are constantly on that strategy bus.
I want to tell you what, we're going to take a quick strategy call here. We're going to go picture-in-picture mode. Folks, don't leave your monitors, your phones, whatever you're watching. This is Nerd TV's coverage of the Full Throttle Sim Racing Truck Series here, live on Nerd TV. We'll be right back in a second. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Nashville 200, live from the virtual Nashville Superspeedway. Cody McKinney continues to lead with Mark Brannigan Jr. second. Richie Coy, your podium position, but there is about to be a battle for second. I tell you what, there is always battles all over the place, and I might as well tell you all about the Full Throttle Sim Racing series here. And the Full Throttle Sim Racing is the presenting league of both the Premier Cup and Truck Series. Starting back in 2006 on NASCAR Racing 2003, FTSR has grown and expanded with time. But building foundations on solid Premier racing and unbiased administrating, the FTSR has built a following that has lasted the test of time. Breaking into the iRacing scene in 2017, this Premier League will expand on the solid principles that were established all those years ago. If you want to join, if you want to find out more information, you can check them out at www.ftsr.net. Again, that's www.ftsr.net for the Full Throttle Sim Racing Series. Approaching the stage break here coming up at the end of lap 40, and we're starting to see here, Dustin, Richie Coy, those Fury Motorsports guys, they might have those long run speed trucks, because Richie Coy and Bobby Terrell, they have caught Mark Brannigan Jr., and they're about to go to second and third here before the end of the stage.
Yeah, and that was while you were doing the ad read for FTSR, an amazing league that we broadcast here. There was an excellent battle between the 19 of Coy and the 98 of Brannigan, and the only thing that really sat here and put that aside was the 98 of Brannigan got loose coming out of 4 there, and it allowed the 19 of Coy to get close. You can see the 98 of Brannigan. It almost looks like he has, like you said, that right front tire. If I was a betting man, I'd almost believe that right front tire is probably just smoking and screaming at him right now, because it does not seem like it wants to set in that corner. It gets tight, it drifts up, and then once it drifts up so much, it wants to get snappy loose.
Yeah, you talk about snappy loose too, compared to everybody else in that top 5 right now. Mark Brannigan Jr. is the slowest out of all of them. He nearly fell off 2 seconds just a lap ago. 31.797 for him last time around. Probably going to be even slower this time around. But the Fury Motorsports guys, they go to 2nd and 3rd. Not as fast as Cody McKinney. McKinney has only fallen off about 1.2 seconds from where he was, and he is on lap 40. So this will be the end of the stage coming up. And Cody McKinney has pulled away by 4.25 seconds here almost. He's working his way off turn number 4. So Cody McKinney is going to win the one and only stage here in that number 28 Toyota Tundra. He'll pick up the stage victory. Richie Coy is going to come home 2nd. Bobby Terrell 3rd. Mark Brannigan Jr. 4th. Kyle Milliken 5th. 6th is Robert Malikian. 7th is Brandon Elder. 8th is Tyler Granat. 9th is JP Burns. And 10th is Stephen Hollingsworth. And the 2nd Roasted Gems coffee caution flag. A lot of big mouthful of words there, just like the mouthful of coffee that Roasted Gems provides. A lot of words right there. But Cody McKinney here, Dustin, we're going to get to chat with him here in just a moment or two here. But he has been so stout since the drop of the green flag. What's your take on him so far? As we're just 42 laps in, he is flying, my friend.
He is, and I tell you, the 2 drivers that I had to pick before we went green flag racing are now sitting 1 and 2, but I think what is putting Cody McKinney where he is at right now is exactly what you had talked about in pre-race during the pre-race show presented by Martin Sports, was consistency. He is consistent. The fall off wasn't as great as some of the other drivers. He didn't burn through his stuff. He was a very consistent driver on that, hitting his marks each and every lap. You really didn't see any slip-ups, and that's what allowed him to stretch out to almost a 4-second lead over 2nd place Richie Coy right now and his teammate, the number 4 of Bobby Terrell.
And looking right now, trying to get a hold of Cody McKinney as yellow flag pit stops here are going to start, and he does lead the field into pit road. It does not look like he is in one of his team chats from what I'm seeing, so maybe we could try to catch a word with him later. But right now, he is into the pits, leads everybody else down. You could just expect here, Dustin, everybody's going to be taking 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles, some Sunoco Racing Fuel. There's your stage winner, Cody McKinney. He's got the Dale Jr. type gloves on. I always wanted me a pair of those. I got to get me a pair of those. Maybe Scott Martin over at Martin Sports could get me a pair or something like that. I got to get me a pair because those things look comfortable as heck. And but you can see right there here, Dustin, Cody McKinney leads him off pit road. Bobby Terrell able to pass his teammate Richie Coy in the pits. So this could be a big factor here for Bobby Terrell if he's going to be starting side by side with Cody McKinney on this restart.
Oh, and that was an excellent race off pit road. McKinney just coming out in front, but both Bobby Terrell and Richie Coy were right there. It was that close. And it's funny, you should make mention of trying to get a pair of those gloves from Martin Sports. Just a little hint of things to come in the future. There are some Dale Jr. inspired skeleton hand gloves, custom made bone by bone by the fine folks over at Martin Sports that will be hitting the stores here in the very near future. So keep an eye out at martinsports906.com for that or any other apparel that you want to take a gander at.
Yeah, Scott Martin, all the folks over at Martin Sports 906 do a lot for the iRacing community. They do a lot for us over here at Nerditudes. They also do a lot for the FTSR. Obviously, Scott has been majorly involved in the iRacing community, over the last few years, sponsoring multiple trucks in both the eNASCAR iRacing Road to Pro series and multiple other series across the sim, road racing, NASCARs, trucks, whatever you name it. You know, they got everything over here on iRacing. And he's been doing a great job. Great company. Check him out. martinsports906.com. Again, just like Dustin said. And also, if you use promo code SUPERNERD, you can get, I believe it is 25% off at checkout.
That is correct. 25%.
25% off.
A quarter of your order is discounted.
That rhymes. So
it
there
did.
You go.
I'm a poet, didn't even know it. Hey!
We make rhymes, we cash checks, we snap necks, we give you discounts. So check out martinsports906.com. Again, use promo code SUPERNERD at checkout for 25% off your Martin Sports order. And man, check them out, man. They got a hell of a lineup. They got so much sim racing apparel. So gonna be interesting to see what provides over there at Martin Sports here pretty soon in the near future. But lights are out on the virtual iRacing safety car. Front row, Cody McKinney, Bobby Terrell. Row 2, Mark Brannigan Jr. Also, Richie Coy. Row 3, you have, which looks to be, they keep on shuffling on me, Tyler Granat, Kyle Milliken, Brandon Elder, Robert Malikian, and Stephen Hollingsworth and J.P. Burns round out the top 10. Dustin, right before we go green, man, we talked about him. Brandon Elder, Stephen Hollingsworth. Caution came out. They got 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles, maybe made some adjustments to those virtual NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series chassis. Man, they might have something here for these guys up inside the top 10.
And they very well could. I mean, it was an excellent call. They made the most out of the accident that happened, made it through clean. Brandon Elder up 14, Hollingsworth up 13. One thing to make mention, too, is right now the 28 of Cody McKinney electing to restart on that high side rather than that inside, which like I said, it's going to be interesting to see how this goes.
Be interesting, but hey, we've seen it work time and time again. A little bit of momentum, also slower speeds. Maybe it'll work out for him. But the green flag is back out in the air. Mark Brannigan Jr. right on the bumper of Cody McKinney as they work their way into one.
Yeah, off into turn 1 right now, still side by side. It does look like the 28, as long as he can stick the exit, will be clear of the 4 of Terrell. Terrell still has his nose there, though, not wanting to give it up, but it does look like right now that the 28 of McKinney now has a truck length advantage in between. Now the battle is for that second place position between the 4 of Terrell and the 98 of Brannigan. They finally single file out. Right now, McKinney, Terrell, Brannigan, your top 3.
Top 3 across the line. Lap 47 goes up onto the board. Mark Brannigan Jr. trying to look for every inch of real estate to try to get around Bobby Terrell, but off the corner, the 28, Cody McKinney, little bit tight, little bit loose. This might open up the door for Bobby Terrell. Not enough. Down the back straightaway into turn number 3. Bobby Terrell had to lay off. Maybe something of a miss on the McKinney machine, but off the corner, Bobby Terrell still hanging right in there. He's going to look to the outside. Not enough. Back by about half a truck length as they work their way into one.
As that battle's going on, we have a battle right now for that 3rd position. The 19 of Coy does take that away from the 98 of Brannigan. Now Brannigan under attack from the 42 of Milliken. So that battle now going on. Milliken falls back behind, and 98 regains that. So again, right now on those fresh tires, these drivers are giving it everything they have.
Yeah, well, 3 drivers giving it all they have right there. The 22, that is right there. That is Michael Blackner. A few laps down, obviously involved in a crash earlier. They single file back to 2 wide now. That's the 81 machine as well right there. Tyler Granat, but battle up at the front of the field. Bobby Terrell gets around Cody McKinney. Your in-race reporter. We were supposed to talk to him. Not in the team chats, it looks to be. So maybe that was a little bit of bad luck for Cody McKinney, not getting to talk to us, not getting us to prep him up. But regardless, he still has a very fast truck. Expect him to try to be battling for the lead here with Bobby Terrell shortly. You see the 22 machine again. Michael Blackner, 48 laps down. And this is a big what if here, Dustin, because if you look at it, the 81 of Tyler Granat currently sitting in 6th. So this would be the battle for 6th had the 22 not gotten wrecked right there. So interesting that the 22 is this competitive, but he's 48 laps down. Oh, a little bit of contact there off turn number 4. The 81 almost pinched the 22 into the wall. 22 bounces off. no harm, no foul, though. You're seeing something, though, here, Dustin. Mark Brannigan Jr. looks to be something of a connection issue. Keeps on blinking in and out here as they work their way down the backstretch.
Yeah, he's, as you see, he just blinked off there. And actually, we have a double number out there, and I just realized that. It's 22 on the truck, but that is actually the 16 of Robert Milikian. So we have two 22s out there, the 22 of Blackner, and that's actually his number, and the 16 of Milikian has the 22 on the side of his truck. So you can understand how that was going to cause a little bit of confusion there. So that is a battle for position there as those guys are racing. But the 98, like you were talking about, Jason, still having some potential connection issues as he's blinking in and out. We can't even get a camera on him because it just blinks out.
And that's a big deal because he is one of those drivers inside the top 5 in the point standings right now. Also came into this race very, very strong. Currently, Mark Brannigan Jr. only 34 points out as a rookie. To be in the hunt right now for the Season B title, that is a big statement. But this is one heck of a battle down the back. Straight away, the 5, Hollingsworth, 81, Granat. And then the 22, which is the 16 on iRacing's official scoring card. That's Robert Milikian there. He is to the outside of Hollingsworth. The 81 tried to slam the door on Hollingsworth into turn number 4. Not enough. They single file back out as Milikian and also the 5 of Hollingsworth, they battle side by side. But look no further. Guess who's coming? Brandon Elder. Again, one of those drivers we talked about. Both him and Hollingsworth, super fast, both up 12 and 14 spots from where they started. They are trying their best to make it further inside the top 10 as they work their way into turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, and this right now is the hot battle and race that's going on. As you see, they're trying to do everything, trying to get a little side draft is the 16 of Milikian on the 81 of Granat. Granat right now is leading this little pack here, and that battle between Hollingsworth and Milikian is still hot and heavy. A little bit of wobble from that 5 there. That's going to check it up enough for the 51 of Elder to get a run on that inside. So you see the 51 of Brandon Elder now battling the 16 of Milikian as this battle again is starting to heat up.
Yeah, wagging the rear end pretty much like a dog's tail right there off turn number 2. You saw Hollingsworth nearly lose it in front of Robert Milikian there and also Brandon Elder. And here comes the 18 of Joey McKinney trying his best to try to make his way further inside the top 10. 81 of Granat right there almost got into the wall off turn number 2. That's going to open up the door for Stephen Hollingsworth, though not enough, but he's right on the rear tailgate. It's the Ford and Ford. Oh, the 81 of Granat sideways in front of the field. Up and into the wall goes the 5. They save it, and you got to think to yourself right there, Dustin, the 81 had to have gotten so loose right there. Oh my goodness, this is such tight racing. The 81 slid right across the Silverado front bumper of Brandon Elder. Great battling here between these 3 to 5 drivers right now. It looked like they're off turn number 4. The 81 got a little bit loose, checked up the field, and man, that could have been Calamity Corner just a lap ago.
Oh, it could have been. I mean, this battle is so close. I mean, you could not have fit a piece of paper in between the rear bumper of Granat and the front bumper of Elder on that slide down there as they were trying to regain it back up. And right now, the 51 Elder still trying to get that nose on the inside. This is his best run he's had, going off into turn 3 right now, side by side. Now they got to try to stick it as the 51 drifts up just slightly there, but is able to hold it down still side by side, neck and neck as they come to the line.
He gave him a lane, but he didn't give him much room, and the 81 is trying his best to get back around. The 51 machine nearly got pinched into the wall by Elder there out of the tri-oval. Was right on the right rear quarter panel on the back of the tailgate of that truck of the 51. And also that opens up the door now for Robert Milikian and Joey McKinney right behind them. They're getting a little loose. Here comes J.P. Burns, a driver who was involved, I believe, earlier on in that lap 1 wreck off turn number 2. He currently sits just outside the top 10 in the 11th spot. You see some damage there on the right side door, so that could be hindering his progress. And a driver who is slowly but surely, just like he always does here, Dustin, making his way up towards the field. That's Tony Solari, another Fury Motorsports driver, one of the road course guys. But he is very solid on these ovals. He started, I believe, towards the back end of the field. He was about 18th to 17th. He's made his way up to 12th. Got a long ways to go. Obviously, this is a single file, momentum-based racetrack with the drivers, pretty much putting the racetrack in the driver's hands and saying, here, you do something with it. But so far, a solid showing by Tony Solari here. Maybe he can get inside the top 10.
Yeah, and Tony's one of those drivers. Again, we talked about this being a rhythm track, him being a dirt guy and a road guy. I mean, those both are disciplines that require rhythm. So he knows how to get it done, and he is started 18th, up 7 spots now. Actually started 19th, up 7 spots in the 12th. Now putting pressure on the 99 of J.P. Burns. But back up at the front right now, that battle for the lead is starting to heat up as Bobby Terrell passed the 28 of McKinney early on. And right now, guess what, Jason? Cody McKinney's knocking on that door, and look who's right behind him, none other than the 19 of Coy. So this battle for the race lead is going to be heating up here real quick.
Well, I tell you what, Richie Coy's right back behind them here, and Cody McKinney, we're riding on board with him. You could see him right there doing a little bit of itching. You get itchy inside the virtual cockpit. It happens, man. Just don't do it in the middle of the corner. But he is just digging right now on the back bumper of Bobby Terrell. Almost. He's trying to get there. You can see how much he's focusing there. You could see the skeleton Dale Jr.-like gloves right there on Cody McKinney right now on his hands. He's working that wheel into the corner. You can see him how smooth he is right there with the wheel. I mean, he's just doing a great job. It just looks like he's just a little bit loose off exit, maybe a little bit too much power down. But if these two get side by side, I tell you what, you're talking about knocking on the door with Cody McKinney. Richie Coy sees heaven, and there's the door on the back bumper of McKinney, and he's going to be knocking on heaven's door here in just a second, possibly.
Yeah, and one thing to take note, too, and this is why we love showing these in-rig shots presented by iRock 93.5, is you actually get to see these drivers and what they do. Yeah, they're in the comfort of their home. They probably got the AC on and the fan going. They got the, a beverage next to them, but they are still putting in some work. They're putting in a lot of laps here. And one thing that I will say is looking at the wheel work of the 28 of McKinney right now, as we actually do see that, not a lot of play. Like you said, just slightly loose on corner exit there. You see he had to counter steer it just a little bit to drive it up. But I'm telling you, Jason, I mean, very minimal movement on that wheel going around this corner, so that's a very comfortable truck right now.
Yeah, and last time around, Cody McKinney was almost faster than was faster than Bobby Terrell by nearly 0.02 of a second. So he's slowly but surely getting there. It's kind of working out for him here. He's just got to really be digging in that truck right now. And I will say too, as a fellow iRacer, I'm not so much in the sim rig as I used to be. Anymore. I don't have a rig like these guys. I just use my desk chair, my Thrustmaster TMX Pro, and my what are these called? The Fanatec V3 pedals, and I just go to work, man. But I tell you what, you run some of these races, you run a track like Nashville Superspeedway, like Dover, like a road course like Watkinsville and Sonoma, whatever. It works you, man. You may be in the comfort of your own home, but man, I can't tell you the amount of times where I have been in a cool environment in my room temperature, have a drink next to me. Man, I am so worn out by some of the end of this, especially Bristol dirt on the open stuff. Oh my goodness, I've never sweat so much in my life. I just, and I get outside, I know everybody's like keyboard warrior, whatever, like Mike Joyce says, and some people on Twitter. But hey, man, these guys, they put in a lot of effort, and they deserve a lot more credit than what they do. But that's the best thing about it. They're out here, they're having fun. And Cody McKinney, though, he is a man on a mission right now, alongside Stephen Hollingsworth and Brandon Elder, who are continuing to pick off drivers. They just got around the 42 of Kyle Milliken.
Yeah, so that moves the 5 of Hollingsworth for the first time tonight into the top 5. He is up 17 positions, and that driver in that black and silver 51 machine up 15 positions right now, just outside of that top 5. These drivers are on the move, and they have been trucking, and they have been consistent all race long. I give it time, maybe a little bit of strategy kind of thrown in the mix there a little bit, and you could see these two cracking the podium.
Yeah, and they very well could. And also just want to shout out one of our sponsors here tonight, Mach 1 Performance, which is the official sponsor of the FTSR Mach 1 Performance Cup Series. Mach 1 Performance is a race car fabrication shop that was started by the late Johnny Coy Jr., and the shop has produced champions and winners in all sorts of racing divisions, from road circuits like SCCA and NASA to dirt and pavement oval racing. You can find them on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Mach1 Performance. Again, that's www.facebook.com/Mach1 Performance to check them out, obviously. So go check them out. They've been sponsoring the Cup Series here for a little bit. Love calling the Mach 1 Performance Cup Series on Mondays with Jeremy. Can't wait to see you back. Hope all is well. And Dustin, man, we've had so far a pretty clean race besides the first lap. Obviously, you're starting to separate the men apart from the boys. Obviously, we both thought Cody McKinney was going to be the strong one in the beginning of this race. He's still strong, so don't disregard him. Things could still change. But Bobby Terrell, man, I think the biggest thing for Bobby Terrell, Dustin, was when he got off pit road, he beat his teammate, and that gave him the opportunity to pass one less car and go after the leader. And he worked it, was consistent time after time, lap after lap, and finally got him. Now the question is what does Cody McKinney got to do to try to get around Bobby Terrell?
Yeah, and one thing to remember, too, right now, we're working lap 73 of 150. We're almost halfway through this race already, and that just goes to show you, since the lap 1 caution and the stage break, these guys have been at it now for going on 33 laps. So right now, these guys are just now starting to work towards where their tires were at when the stage break took place. Right now, that 28 of McKinney, he's been up front. He knows he has a solid piece underneath him. He just needs to stay consistent. Do what he was doing before that stage break. Just be consistent. We know that he's got a long run car. He knows that the 4 Terrell typically has a good, solid long run piece. The 19 of Coy typically does too. But right now, Richie Coy has fallen back from both the first and second place of Terrell and McKinney.
You talk about, too, here, Dustin, the long-term effects of the race and also how this was about the stage break end last time, and this is when you saw Bobby Terrell and Richie Coy really start to kind of pull. And last time around, I mean, Richie Coy was almost 2/10 off of his teammate's pace right there. And Cody McKinney has fallen off almost an entire 10th compared to Bobby Terrell. But Bobby right now, he is doing a heck of a job right now inside that number 4 Ford F-150. And I'm not surprised that he's really leading here, Dustin, because if you think about it, if I recall, Bobby Terrell won Dover last season in Season A just a handful of months ago.
I believe you are correct on that. So, I mean, this track layout is something that is very fitting for that number 4 and that entire team there. Much like road courses and dirt racing, we know is very fitting for the 11 of Tony Solari. So again, a lot of drivers, they have their certain expertise, so to speak, their bread and butter, and that's just where they tend to excel at quite a bit. Bobby Terrell, I don't know what it is, but it seems like when we come to these concrete base tracks like this, it's just something with that 4 team, they usually always perform.
And looking back at the Season A points, Bobby Terrell did win at Dover, at the Dover 150 in last season, Season A, and that took place on March 27th. So Bobby Terrell was the winner by 2.5 seconds, led 91 laps. So he knows how to get around these concrete, tracks. So don't be surprised if you see Bobby Terrell here end up in victory lane and talking to us here at the end of the night. But I mean, he's been having such a stellar run, doing a great job. But Cody McKinney, though, he's still right there, 6 to 7 tenths back. Not as fast right now as Bobby Terrell, but I think once the strategy starts to play a factor, because remember, no more stage cautions. The FTSR, the way they work, folks, one caution, one, organic type, well, not organic, but one man-made caution. And that's the end of the stage, which is early on in the race. And then these guys, they duke it out for 100 or 80 or so laps. And, our stage break was at lap 40. So you think about it now, you got a long ways to go before lap 150. And this is a track where it's one groove. You got to save the tires. These guys are going to get impatient. caution could happen at any moment. I've seen it happen in other leagues. It could happen here tonight. It happened last week at Iowa during a green flag pit stop cycle. Dustin, it could happen. But, these guys got to start thinking about pitting here probably within the next 20 laps, I'd say.
Yeah, I would say that is a solid one there that's going to split up. Right now they are 40 laps on this run. The stage break came out at lap 40. We're on lap 80, so they are 40 laps into it. You sit here and hit it at lap 90 to 100. That's going to be pretty much splitting their tire sets up from this run to the last run on that one there. So I would say that at least any time from 85 to 95 is probably going to be the best pit window right now. And we have a shout out from the man himself, Mr. Brody Hanna. HB Man 23 says, Concrete Bobby doesn't have a ring to it like Concrete Carl, but it fits, LOL. I will agree. Concrete Carl sounds better, but you know what? When the shoe fits and you know that a man performs on concrete like Bobby Terrell does, that nickname just kind of flows with it.
Yeah, it doesn't exactly fit, but hey, we're gonna make it fit. Maybe we'll call him Cobby. Maybe we'll just call him Concrete Cobby, just for a night. So Cobby is continuing to lead, currently almost by 0.9 of a second over Mr. Cody McKinney, and Cody's been still just hanging in there. It's fallen off about 0.3 from the last time I talked about it just a handful of laps ago, and Richie Coy has fallen off big time. He is 0.2 off the pace, almost 0.3. From his teammate and Cody McKinney. But hey, another caution and he's right back in this thing, and also you got to think to yourself strategy. And Mark Brannigan Jr., what looked to be a truck Jeremy, Dustin, where it was strong in the beginning, and then he looked like he was having a bit of trouble, got mired back in some top 10 traffic. He's still sitting in fourth, so he can still do some. But the big thing that I'm really, worried about right now is what the heck is going to happen when those two guys behind him, get to Richie Coy, and get to Cody McKinney. Because these guys are practically Clint Boyer and Jeff Burton at the end of the 2011 Talladega Fall race right now, because they are tandem drafting practically. One's a Chevy, one's a Ford. They don't line up necessarily, but hey, they're making do right now. And Stephen Hollingsworth and Brandon Elder, man, if this somehow works out for one of them tonight, this is going to be one hell of a drive, because it is very, very hard to pass here tonight.
Yeah, and like you said, these guys literally have been in each other's shadows now since the drop of the green flag. Anytime we talk about one, the other one is right there. As you see, the 51 of Elder does make that pass on the 5 of Hollingsworth, but these guys have been real close. So Brandon Elder cracks the top 5 for the first time tonight. So now he has moved up now 16 spots. They are now tied for the biggest movers of the race at 16 spots apiece with where they run right now. I agree. This is one of the top stories of the night. These guys here have been putting on a real good show. And Jason, we're not done yet. We're on lap 86 of 150. There's still a lot of race left here right now, but I would say right now anywhere between now and lap 95 is somewhere in that pit window. So I would not be surprised if at any time in the next 10 to 12 laps if we see drivers start peeling off.
Well, that being said, right before green flag pit stops are going to be happening, we're going to take you into picture-in-picture mode again. Bobby Terrell continuing to lead the Nashville 200 over Cody McKinney and his teammate Richie Coy. Green flag pit stops coming up shortly, folks. Don't miss it. We'll be right back.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Green flag pit stops already starting to begin. You saw right there a handful of guys coming to the pits. Kyle Milliken, Robert Malicki, and Stephen Hollingsworth, one of the guys who has been so stout all night. Dustin, you and I hit the nail right on the head. We said about 20 to 15, 12 laps. And sure enough, you were right before we went into picture-in-picture mode. You see, though, the cold tires playing a big factor here for these drivers trying to go out there and dig. The tire fall off is about a second to a second and a half with fall off in lap time. So obviously these fresh Goodyear Eagles here, Dustin, they do mean a lot. But now the question is, you saw Stephen Hollingsworth take the undercut. Surprised nobody else has really come in. When do you expect one of these guys inside the top 3 to top 5 to start pitting?
In typical fashion, I mean, they're going to have to start looking at coming down pit road. They know that, I mean, the fall off is fast, but these drivers with the fresh tires, once they get their pressures and heat up in there, you've seen the 42 of Milliken get loose. Again, they've been out here for 60 laps on these tires, and they're used to the cars on, set tires. Now it's cold. They're slipping and sliding all over the place, but they're going to be making up a lot of time. And these drivers here need to keep that in mind. I would say these drivers are going to want to pit before lap 100. That leaves you 50 laps on that set of tires, especially for these drivers like Terrell and McKinney and Coy that we know have long run sets and excel at that long run. They're going to want to give those tires and their setups the amount of time to really bank and get the biggest bang for their buck out of that. So they're going to have to come down right around lap 100, if not before, or just slightly after.
Yeah, they're definitely going to try, I think, here, Dustin, to try to make it that 50 laps or a little bit less here. So you're going to start to see, and Bobby Terrell and Cody McKinney still leading at the front of the field, still 1-2. Richie Coy falling off massively. You got to think to yourself, Richie Coy might be one of those guys inside the top 3 to pit first out of all of them. So we will have to see. He is falling off by only about a tenth, but still, you never know. But here we go. Even with the old tires, Brandon Elder is continuing his march towards the front. I tell you what, I'm going to biasly pick Brandon Elder to be my guy here tonight. I really think here, Dustin, that it's his time to shine. Last week came up so short. I think he gets it done tonight.
Yeah, and I tell you, he is moving. I mean, and again, he has not come down to the service of his crew yet. Moved up 17 positions right now, just completed the pass for 4th, just outside the podium, now chasing down the 19 of Richie Coy. It's one of those what ifs, as well as he is running right now. What if he would have qualified and had a better starting position, not having to work all the way through all these trucks? Shoulda, woulda, coulda, where would he have been at if he would have? But I tell you what, either way, he's putting on a hell of a show as we've got some more takers. The 9 of Marshall Johnson now into the service of his pit crew.
Yeah, the third place finisher from last week at Iowa was inside the top 10. He comes in for some service. He's out of his pit box now in that number 9 machine. Here comes Lane Allen in the number 14 Bass Pro Shop Silverado. He'll come down pit road. So more and more drivers you're starting to see as we approach in just a lap. 50 laps to go. Going to be up on the scoring pylon here for the Nashville 200. Here's another driver. Here we go. It's starting. Bobby Terrell going to try to take the 1-lap undercut. Maybe he'll come to pit road.
No.
Mark Brannigan Jr. sideways. Also Tyler Granat sideways. That might be a penalty for Mark
Ooh.
Brannigan Jr. Don't know if he got to pit road too fast. Don't even know if he hit the line possibly. But by the looks of it, he is okay. Other drivers in as well. Colby Mice is in as well. And here we go, coming to pit road. Oh my goodness, this is so close. Look at that. It might be a penalty. But here comes Cody McKinney back to on-track action. Cody McKinney is now in. So this could be the race for the win. You see, here comes Bobby Terrell. He's off pit road. The big thing is, when Cody McKinney comes into his pit box, how long is it going to take Bobby Terrell to get back around and pass the 28 of Cody McKinney? This could be the money stop.
Yeah, this could be the money stop right now. Bobby Terrell up to full speed, still trying to build up a lot of that pressure right now, but this is where it's going to make or break. You see Terrell coming off turn 4. McKinney right now just exiting pit road, passes the line. He can get on that loud pedal now, trying to stay on that apron all the way around. You see Hollinsworth go by. So this is going to be a close one there. You see Terrell go by. Bobby Terrell looks like he is going to gain a big amount of distance right now on the 28 of McKinney. So the distance going in was about a second and a half, give or take. He gained a lot on that one. So right now, Cody McKinney, he's got a lot of work to make up, and he doesn't have a lot of laps. 46 laps as they cross the line this time.
Yeah, and if Cody McKinney wants to try to make that march back up towards the front, he's going to have to do something. But look at this. The driver who took that 10-lap undercut, Stephen Hollingsworth, is your leader, plus 21 from where he started. Hell, that's pretty much almost dead last. And here he is in that number 5 machine, trying to pull something out of the magic hat. You see him, he's a little bit loose, but still regardless, last time around, that time by 30.673. Bobby Terrell ran the fastest lap of the race last time around, 30.222. And he's only back by about 0.8 of a second. So if Bobby Terrell keeps on shredding up those Goodyear Eagles, he very well could equalize the tires out. We've seen how strong, Dustin, that Stephen Hollingsworth has been on the long green flag runs. So I think Stephen Hollingsworth is expecting to get past here. The thing is, though, is him saving those tires enough to make a march back up towards the front to pass Bobby Terrell.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, it was a gamble. We talked about pit strategy. The 5 of Hollinsworth tried to gamble, was the first taker to go down pit road for green flag pit stops. But right now, he's going to be at the whim of fresh tires, 10-lap fresher tires, and you're going to see the difference in that. You see that gap is closed now. Just a lap and a half ago was 0.8 of a second, and right here, here's your battle and pass for the lead. Terrell on the inside, Hollinsworth on the outside, and Bobby Terrell is going to stick it into turn 1. Easy pass on that one there. That's the difference between fresh tires and tires that have a few laps on them.
No competition. Bobby Terrell goes back to the lead. Concrete Cobby is what I'm going to call him. I don't care. I don't care, Mr. Hanna. I am going to call him Concrete Cobby. That is now his name. Concrete Cobby is going to take the lead here at the Concrete Nashville Superspeedway along from Stephen Hollingsworth. But now this settles in for Stephen Hollingsworth. Reality is starting to set in inside that virtual cockpit. He got past. He knew he was going to take the 9 to 10 lap undercut. Now his thing is that, okay, I know, A, I'm good at saving the tires. B, I'm strong, and if not very strong in the long run. So now he's going to try to set himself up maybe to gain here on Bobby Terrell as the long run progresses. But we've seen Bobby Terrell pull away from the field on the long run here, Dustin. I just don't know if it's going to work for Stephen Hollingsworth, but it very well could. It could. And if we get a yellow, who knows what's going to happen? Stephen Hollingsworth is going to have just as equal of a chance as Bobby Terrell and Cody McKinney.
Yeah, he really is. You know, it's right now the 5 of Hollinsworth has to go in conservation. He has to save the tires that he has, knowing that he has 10 more laps easy on that set of tires compared to everybody else. As you see the 28 of McKinney now going to the inside of Hollinsworth. Now, Cody McKinney has his sights set on one driver and one driver only, and that's going to be the driver of that number 4, Bobby Terrell. But he does have some distance and gap that he has to make up. You're talking 1 3/4 seconds distance between this man right here on your screen and the leader, Bobby Terrell. And you only have 40 laps to make it happen, so they've got to try to get it done, and he's got to be consistent, but you don't want to overdrive it. You can see he's reeling them in as we have a caution right now. This is our second Roasted Gems caution.
Second, or third, actually, Roasted Gems caution of the night here, from the first big one to the second with the stage, and now one with just almost 40 laps to go. Dustin, this changes everything, but the biggest break this is going to be is for Stephen Hollingsworth and also Robert Malikian in the 16 machine, and also Marshall Johnson, both 7th and 9th as well. Those guys pitted on lap 91 and lap 98, so they have a shot, and we're going to have to take a look and see what happened here possibly. Could have been maybe Sylvain Jolly, considering he's so far back. Not too sure here. We'll get a replay for you folks at home in just a second. But, man, this is going to be a good battle. But now the question is do you pit? Do you not? If I'm one of those guys up inside the top 3, I would not pit. So, yes, it was Sylvain Jolly. Going to take a look at the replay here. It has not been a night here for Sylvain Jolly. Definitely not one to remember. And we're going to take a look. He's wrapping around 3 and 4. I want to say he maybe gets loose.
I don't know if it was Sylvain Jolly or not. Like I said, nothing's coming up on this end here on what it was exactly. So a caution did come out, but nothing registering as far as car crash or anything else. So we'll have to try to go through the feeds, see what's going on. But now everybody coming down to the service of their crew. This is going to change everything up like what you were talking about. We do have some cars that elected to stay out. So the 98 of Brannigan stays out, the 81 of Granat, the 9 of Johnson, 99 of JP Burns, Solari, and Colby Meese decides to stay out as well. So that's going to shake up your top 5, actually top 6, counting Colby in that 6th position. Everybody else comes down to the service of their crew. So this is really going to change how things are going. By the time we get back, you're looking at probably about 35 laps of racing action for these guys to duke it out. I tell you what, Jason, this is about to get hard and heavy real fast, and you're about to see some really good racing right now.
Yeah, it's going to get hard and heavy really, really fast, and also really, really quickly. We're just going to have to see what happens here. And obviously, depending on this race and what happens, this could shake up the points, in which those are brought to you by Sim Racing Points, which is the official presenting series sponsor of the Truck Series, and also the points format that they use. And Sim Racing Points is an all-exclusive league points management system that allows league owners and administrators the ability to completely track their league statistics and points with a simple upload. Sim Racing Points does not stop there, though. For the avid webmasters out there, they also allow the creation of custom widgets for any league website to fully display points, results, and more that easily update when results are uploaded. With just a few simple clicks of the mouse, any league can be up. And I mean any league can be up and running and looking good while doing it. And you can check out their pricing plans at www.simracingpoints.com. Again, that's simracingpoints.com. And oh my goodness, I will tell you what, Dustin, we both use those, me, Jeremy. That website is so fantastic. And oh my gosh, it looks beautiful for the FTSR boys. And the way that the points update right after the races, it's beautiful, because then we get to talk about storylines at the end of the race. It's amazing. So definitely check them out, folks. If you have a league or know somebody who has a league, check them in again at simracingpoints.com.
It is a fantastic system, and all the nerds here at Nerditudes use it for all the broadcast. And I tell you what, the driver of that 51, Brandon Elder, puts in a shit ton of work and time into that, as well as a number of the members in FTSR, as far as admins, put in a lot of time and effort into that as well. So it's a fantastic website, and it really closes up and gives you that feel that you don't really get not being in real racing. So there's driver contracts, there's team charters. I mean, it's the full package experience to go along with the on track racing action that FTSR offers. as they are rounding around. The pace lights are off on that pace car right now, so we will be going back to green flag racing on lap 115 of 150. That'll give us 35 laps of racing action to duke this out. Right now, your top 5: Brannigan, Granat, Johnson, Burns, Solari, your top 5. Everything moved around. Colby Meese, Terrell, McKinney, Hollingsworth, and Coy, your top 10. Jason, it's about to get real.
It's definitely about to get real here. And Mark Brannigan Jr., Tyler Granat, lap 100 tires. So, somewhat worn, somewhat new. It's going to be a mixed bag of both. It's going to be like a White Claw variety pack for a girl on a Saturday night. Here we go. Geico restart zone. Green flag is back out in the air here for the Nashville 200. Brannigan, Granat lead them down, flying out of the tri-oval, down into turn 1. How is this going to shake things up? Old versus new. Who is going to prevail into 1 and 2? 2, 3 wide. You see back there, Cody McKinney splitting the middle on Hollingsworth, and also the 8 of Colby Mice. You see Richie Coy a little sideways in front of Brandon Elder. Everybody's scrambling for positions down into 3 and 4.
This is what's going to cause calamity corner going through here. Fresh tires. Everybody is in contention, has a chance because everybody is now bundled up. You can throw a blanket over this entire field right now as they are battling and moving around for position. But you can see some of the drivers on older tires might be struggling just a little bit. Tony Solari right now getting passed by the 28 of Cody McKinney. So McKinney on the move now, not wasting any time as he's working his way up, knowing right now that the 4 of Elder, not Elder, my goodness, the 4 of Bobby Terrell, rather, is just now getting through that traffic, so got stuck. So he's trying to capitalize as much as possible, knowing that he has been fighting that 4 all race long. As we got, it looks like the 8 of Colby sideways going through the corner, saves it, keeps a hold of it somehow. What a job wheeling that thing right in the middle of traffic.
Yeah, that 2020 William Byron Exalta Daytona 500 throwback is able to save it. Colby Mice, old tires, not going to work for him tonight. Currently 17th now. He drops back to, but back up at the front of the field. Mark Brannigan Jr. still continuing to lead. Taking a look at the replay. Brandon Elder, a little too much mustard there. Gets into the 8. He can't really stop. You can't really blame him. Unfortunately, just bad circumstances there for the number 8 Exalta Ford F-150 there of Colby Mice. But is starting to heat up. You see Mark Brannigan Jr. leading over Tyler Granat, but here comes Cody McKinney. He's looking to try to pounce for that second spot down into the corner. Here they come into the tri-oval side by side. Lap 119 goes up on the board into turn 1.
Yeah, side by side still into turn 1. McKinney on the inside, Granat on the outside. McKinney will pull that slide job up coming off of turn 2. Mark McKinney up to P2. He is now chasing down the 98 of Brannigan, and he is looking to try to make quick work because he knows that number 4 right back there is working his way forward, and in tow is the 19 of Richie Coy. These drivers are giving everything they have right now, but I tell you what, the way that start was with all the drivers so close, that was an amazing job by those guys there to not cause a caution. And the only contact was between the 51 and the 8 there, and the 8 did an excellent job wheeling it and keeping that thing going. Right now, the 28 of McKinney, look at the strength on the outside right now. He's got those fresher tires, and they are showing their strength right now as he is going to try to muscle his way by the 98 of Brannigan on the outside. He will lead that lap coming by, but they are still side by side. He's still trying to clear him off into 1.
McKinney hanging tough on the outside, trying to get clear of Brannigan here off turn number 2. He might just do that. You look inside the virtual cockpit. Oh, and he's going to throw a little bit of a block there on Brannigan. He knows the 4 of Bobby Terrell is coming, and he is flying right now through this field. Here he comes, second, almost a second at least. He is to the bumper of Mark Brannigan Jr., Cody McKinney. Heart's got to be going a mile a minute inside that virtual truck right now. You see him, he's smiling. He knows he's out front. Lap 122 goes up on the board. Time is running out for Bobby Terrell, but with the tires settling in here in just a few laps, if there's no caution, Bobby Terrell might have a chance here as they work their way down the back straightaway, and the 98 closes to the rear tailgate of Terrell. Not enough, though. Battle behind them. That's for 4th, Richie Coy. Also, Stephen Hollingsworth And then Tyler Granat there in the number 81 machine. They're side by side here battling as they go into one.
Yeah, as they go into one, remember the 98 and the 81 on your screen right now have older tires than everybody else, but I tell you what, Jason, they are holding tough, and they are making it difficult right now, and they are battling for every inch of real estate on that track. The 5 of Hollinsworth completes the pass on Granat, now sets his sights on the 98 of Brannigan as he closes in on the back bumper. The 42 of Milliken now trying to close in on the 81 of Granat, so a lot of racing going on as you see further back, Lane Allen on the inside of the 22, scratch at 16 of Robert Milikian, and look who is right there in tow, the 51 of Brandon Elder. That is your battle for the 7th position, as the 14 of Lane Allen will take over that 8th position. It's a battle for 8th position, rather, and now the 51 of Elder looking to the inside of the 22, scratch at 16 of Milikian.
22, 16, whatever you want to call him, Robert Milikian, one of the rookies. He has been strong ever since he showed up into the FTSR, whether it be Cup or whether it be Trucks. He has been there inside the top 10. Heartbreaker moment for him a few weeks ago, or about a month or so ago at Kansas. Leading, coming to the white flag, got himself up and into the wall. Into turn 3, Richie Coy was able to steal the win away at Kansas for his first victory of the season. And here he is tonight. Robert Milikian currently sitting P10. Solid night for him. Richie Coy, that Kansas winner, sitting P3. Fastest lap of the race also turned by him, 30.044. A handful of laps to go. That was Richie Coy again, sitting third in that number 19, the Haskell, New Jersey native, trying his best to try to work his way back up towards the front, but still battling side by side. You see Stephen Hollingsworth, one of the fastest drivers here tonight, passing Mark Brannigan Jr. on those 11-lap older tires. So Stephen might have something. That caution worked into his favor. The restart didn't work into his favor in a sense, but here he is, currently sitting P4, Dustin. This would be a win for Stephen Hollingsworth if he comes away here tonight with the top 5.
Oh, 100%. Up 18 positions from his starting spot. That undercutting the green flag pit stops by 10 laps, and that worked out flawlessly with that caution coming out. Now, mind you, these drivers don't know when cautions are going to come out. It's a gamble every time they try something with pit strategy. This time it paid off for that 5 team of Hollinsworth, as right now he is sitting P4 trying to chase down that podium, currently being held first by the 19 of Richie Coy.
Yeah, and Richie Coy maybe being third right now, but the real battle on the track is who the heck is going to win this race, because it's been such an even match between Cody McKinney and Bobby Terrell. In fact, it's been so even that last time around, both ran exact same lap times here on the SDK Gaming Live Time and Scoring Leaderboard, 30.684. Here we go. This time by across the line, Bobby Terrell has closed the gap in by about 0.2 of a second. In fact, that time by, he was about 300ths or 400ths faster than Cody McKinney. So Bobby Terrell starting to reel in Cody McKinney a little bit. McKinney got loose there a little bit off turn number 2, almost pancaked the wall. And Bobby Terrell continuing to reel him in like a largemouth bass here from the Nashville Superspeedway. Bobby Terrell looking to try to get another concrete win. Concrete Cobby, I call him. I don't give a damn. He is Concrete Cobby to me. He is looking for another win, but there could be a caution, Dustin. You never know, and it could set up something. 21 laps to go. Everybody's fighting for every spot, every point, every piece of real estate.
Yeah, and it's so close right now. It's hovering right around that 0.5 to 0.6 of a second gap difference in between McKinney and Terrell right now. They are running so close to identical times. Don't count out the 19 of Coy, who is in striking distance as well. If any driver slips up, you better believe he is going to be right there to pounce. Right now, the battle is definitely heating up for this 6th position right now. This little pack being led by the 14 of Lane Allen, but close in tow, the 42 of Milliken, the 51 of Elder, 81 of Granat, and the 16 of Milikian. All these drivers right now trying to bid for that 6th place, trying to work their way towards that top 5.
Yeah, everybody's continuing to try to work their way towards that top 5, just running out of time. Unfortunately, 19 laps to go, and time is going to click away faster than everybody thinks. And again, that last time around, Bobby Terrell faster than Cody McKinney by just 0.04 of a second. The gap now is under half a second. Bobby Terrell is going to get to Cody McKinney, I think, whether he likes it or not. But again, these guys have been so evenly matched here, Dustin, all night long. And if these two go neck and neck for the win, Richie Coy and Stephen Hollingsworth are only back by up to 2.18 seconds right now. If they get together, the door opens wide open for these guys.
Yeah, and that's the gamble, again, that nobody knows what's going to happen. We know that both of these drivers that are leading this field right now, being the 28 of McKinney and the 4 of Terrell, are going to lay it all out. They are going to give it everything they can to bring home that W for the team. And I tell you what, these guys, like you said, so evenly matched right now. I mean, their lap times are so close. That gap has stayed right around that half a second to 0.6 of a second. Lap after lap. You'll have McKinney will sit here and gain on corner entry. Terrell will gain on corner exit. It is going to be a race of attrition between these two. And the one that's going to come out with the W is the one that stays as consistent as possible, even under pressure. That's what we're trying to tell you. We tried to tell you folks before. These drivers still feel the pressure as well, especially when you're counting down 16 laps to go before we finally crown a winner of the Nashville 200.
Yeah, the Nashville 200 winner could come between either of these guys, or maybe a surprise winner, maybe somebody in third, fourth, fifth. You never know. Last week at Iowa, we saw TJ Bart, or not last week at Iowa, but a couple weeks ago at Iowa, we saw TJ Bartel steal one away from the Fury Motorsports guys and also the rest of the field by a late caution after green flag pit stops were starting to happen. So it very well could happen again tonight. No green flag stops here for the remainder of the night, considering the fact everybody pitted almost 50 laps ago. But this is still anybody's race up at the front of the field between these two guys. Cody McKinney, Bobby Terrell still in tow right now by between flirting with 0.5 of a second to 0.6 of a second. The gap right now still the same. You're looking at Cody McKinney, 14 laps to go this time by, and it's going to feel like hell, and it's going to feel like the longest 14 laps of Cody McKinney's life, trying to get another victory here, and he's trying to hold off one of the best on the concrete surfaces, Bobby Terrell, in that number 4.
Yeah, and he's doing everything he can right now. Again, looks very comfortable in that rig. Not a lot of movement on the wheel. And it looks like what he was played with earlier. If you remember, he was loose off the corner. You don't see a lot of turn to the right there to drive that truck up the track to save that looseness. So that's going to play in his favor right now. These guys are really getting at it. It's going to be a nail biter all the way down to the end, Jason.
Yeah, and really the big thing that's saving Cody McKinney right now is if you look at his entry and look at his line. I mean, Bobby Terrell, it didn't really show right there, but last time around in 1 and 2, Bobby Terrell was running right on the inside of the racetrack, and Cody McKinney was about a lane above that, so that could hurt Cody McKinney's right front here as we approach here with under 10 laps to go, but the gap is still staying the same. You can just see Bobby Terrell trying every entry point, every single time. It doesn't matter. Bobby Terrell is trying the best he can. He's driving the wheels off that number 4. I guess so, because I mean he's got 4 wheels on it. You might as well if you're the number 4 machine. But hey, the gap now almost under 0.5 of a second. Bobby Terrell. Oh! No! And we have another caution. The Roasted Gems caution coffee caution flag comes out for the 5th time of the night.
This changes everything.
Oh yeah. This changes everything. Here we go. Oh, no. The 81 machine, Tyler Granat, top 10 run going all night long, gets taken out by the 17 of Steve Loomis, who was marching his way back up towards the front. Unfortunately, just not enough room right there. Going to take another look at it here from the rear tailgate. The 17, he's in there, shoves it in there. Unfortunately, that's not no one really to blame. The 17 could have laid off a little bit. He was going for it, but the 81 came down as well. Maybe try to take another look here from a third-person angle or a blimp view here. But unfortunately, Dustin, that's just racing. The 81 looked like he was coming down to slam the door. The 17 had the run here as we take a look here from the aerial view.
Yeah, oh, it looks like the 17 just barely hit that apron transition there, and it just moved his truck up. Very possibly, if those tires wouldn't have hit that apron, he wouldn't have shoved up into the 81 there. Tough break, but that just shows you how close the racing is there. You know, every driver is going for every inch of real estate on that track.
Yeah, and every driver's going for every piece of real estate on that track. And unfortunately, I'm not surprised by that, though, because it happens. You've seen that, and especially with these trucks, the lower horsepower, it is not uncommon to get down onto that apron. Not on the front stretch, but in 3 and 4, 1 and 2, it happens. I've seen it happen. You've seen it happen. We just saw it happen. So no surprise there that Steve Loomis got into the 81 of Granat. Now the question is who will pit? Who is going to come in? I don't think anybody has any sets of tires left, but if they do, now's the time to come in and try to use them. Nobody looks to be coming into the pits. Looks like we're going to be restarting probably with somewhere around 6 to maybe 7 laps to go. We'll have to see. But I guess right now, I mean, Dustin, who do you got here for this finish, man? I mean, Bobby Tyrrell has been so strong. They're on equal tires, but Cody McKinney's been getting great launches. What do you expect here on this restart coming up?
I expect probably the best damn restart that we have seen these FTSR boys do in a couple weeks. Let's put it that way since the last broadcast. It's going to be, I believe the 28 and the 4 are both going to have excellent restarts. They're going to have to. They know what each other's bringing to the table right now. They know what's at stake. They know what they have to do. And it's going to be a race down to these two. And the winner of the race is going to be the one that utilizes that restart and has the best restart possible. Either way it goes, it's going to be one hell of a ride. I do want to shout out Matt Keach out there. Says, hey, boys, glad to see that you're joining the broadcast as well. I tell you what, hang tight, because this show's not done yet.
Yeah, it's not done yet. And with that being said, we're going to take you to our final race picture-in-picture mode. Who's going to have the better restart? It's going to be between Cody McKinney, Bobby Tyrrell, or the rest of the field, maybe? We'll have to see. We'll be right back from Nashville Superspeedway right after this. Well, folks, that brings the end to the picture-in-picture coverage, and now you see these truckers getting ready for possibly the final restart of the night after the 4th Roasted Gems Coffee Caution Flag. Row 1, Cody McKinney, Bobby Tyrrell. Row 2, Richie Coy, Stephen Hollingsworth. Row 3, Lane Allen, Brandon Elder, your top 6. Here they come. Coming into the Geico restart zone for what could be the final restart of the night. Green flag is back in the air. We're back underway from Nashville. 7 laps to go this time by at the line. Cody McKinney, great restart over the 4 of Bobby Tyrrell. But Bobby right there on the quarter panel going into 1 and 2 with some help there from his Fury Motorsports teammate. A little bit of contact there off turn number 2. Richie Coy trying to get around his teammate. Not enough. Cody McKinney scoots away as they work their way into 3.
And that, in his mirror, is exactly what Cody McKinney wants to see, is those two battling it out for second, because that's going to allow him to stretch it out. Richie Coy on the inside, Tyrrell on the outside, Brandon Elder right behind him as well, side by side with the 5 of Hollingsworth. As this is going on, though, look at the stretch and the lead that the 28 is gaining. Oh, big contact back there. Lane Allen hard into the wall.
Big crash, Lane Allen, kaboom, into the wall, hard right hook, right into the outside, safe for barrier. 5th Roasted Gems Coffee caution flag of the night. We said it was going to be wild, Dustin, and surely enough, it was going into one.
Oh, 3 wide as they were going in there, just ran out of real estate. Looks like there might have been just a little bit of drift. We're going to get another view there. We're going to go chopper cam on that one as well, kind of see what happened as they go into the corner. Yeah, the 14 of Lane Allen just drifted up ever so slightly right into the 16 of Milikian. Again, the Heartbreak Kid, another heartbreaker, just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Heavy damage on that 16 machine.
Heavy damage as well on the 14 of Lane Allen. Hard hook right into the wall. Unfortunately, got a little bit tight. Got into the driver, right rear, right into the wall. Hard hit. You saw the new iRacing damage model provided on these virtual NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series chassis. Hard hit into the wall. Usually you would see that thing go up off the ground, probably up and into the air, doing multiple air barrel rolls. You see the 16 of Robert Milikian now coming in. Hard contact. Right front fender completely off the truck. Steve Loomis as well. Lots and lots of carnage here. But this is what happens here, Dustin. It's what happened at Iowa. Cautions breeding cautions, my friend.
Yeah, and like I said, the thing is, we're running out of laps. Now, these, we do a green-white checkered, but, I mean, the restart that the 28 of McKinney got was exactly what he needed. Now he's got to replicate that again and hope that no caution flags come out so that he can try to stretch that out. Now, it's changed a little bit. He's going to have the 19 of Richie Coy. If he elects to take the outside, he's going to have that 19 on the inside. So this is somebody that he hasn't battled with a whole lot this race. It's typically just been between himself and the 4 of Terrell. So this is going to get interesting. This is new territory for the 28, new territory for the 19. And we only got a few laps here to duke it out and finish out.
Could you just imagine if Richie Coy somehow is able to steal this one away from his teammate and Cody McKinney? I mean, I don't really expect anybody to challenge Cody McKinney here on the restart, but I've been wrong before. I mean, but look at Cody McKinney right now. He knows, man. He knows what's about to happen. He's smiling. He's
Look at that smirk.
I tell you what, though, Dustin, he might not be smirking at the end of this race, depending on what goes on. Look at him, man. He's stressed right now. He knows what's going on. The force feedback kicking into his wheel. He's getting ready to grip that steering wheel as hard as he friggin' can. I mean, this is going to be a good finish for him. But the question is will he get the restart that he's been wanting all night? I mean, now he's got a new challenger that's going to be more than likely on his inside because Cody has been choosing the outside lane every single restart after the first initial start. So now that Richie Coy is going to be on the inside, is Richie going to get the push from his teammate? Is Richie going to be close enough? I mean, this race could go south for Cody McKinney in 2 seconds going into turn 1.
It really can. And to answer your question, is the 28 of McKinney going to get the restart he needs? The answer to that is he has to. If he wants to get this win, he has to get that restart. This has to be the perfect restart that he has had in the 2023 B Martin Sports Truck Series season in order to bring this win home. But again, there's a lot of sleepers. There's a lot of unknowns. We don't know what's going to happen with the 19. We haven't seen the 19 restart in this position. We know that we have a very hungry Bobby Terrell, Mr. Cobby Terrell, Concrete Cobby back there waiting in the wings as well. There's a lot of variables here that we don't have a lot of time to figure it out. But we are doing a green-white checkered with that caution coming out. This will be an iRacing official green-white checker. That's going to throw us into overtime on this one here as it's going to take us past that mark. So, again, this restart is going to be crucial. And look who's behind that 28. The 51 of Brandon Elder, who has moved up 18 positions.
Wow.
This is going to be awesome.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome for sure. I really do expect Cody McKinney to get a great restart, but I've been wrong before. Knock on wood for him. Unfortunately, me and Jeremy both have a pretty bad history of commentators curse, especially me, whether it be over here on Nerditudes or LSR TV or wherever I'm covering. Somehow, some way, I always find a way to screw something up with my voice, but hopefully I don't. And hopefully these truckers don't screw up here on the restart, especially Cody McKinney. You just said it, Dustin. He's going to need the restart of the season here. Season B, that is, here for the FTSR Martin Sports Truck Series. Row 1, McKinney, Coy, Elder, Terrell. Row 2, Brannigan, Hollingsworth. Row 3, top 6 coming into the Geico restart zone, which could be this time the final restart. Here they come. Geico restart zone. Green flag is back out in the air. 2 laps to go. We're in overtime from Nashville. Terrell, big push to the 19 of Coy into turn 1. And here comes Coy. Oh, big crash. Terrell up into the wall. There goes the 51 of Brandon Elder. Huge melee going into 1 and 2. And that's going to bring out another Roasted Gems coffee caution flag. Major race implications and major heavy hitters involved in this one.
Oh my. The drama that is going on right now. Didn't expect it. Oh, the 98 looked like he come down. Don't know. He might have had a little bit of help from behind as everybody was stacking up. But look at the damage to that 4 right now. Bobby Terrell, driver that has led so many laps tonight. And again, just a heartbreaker of a situation right now as we're watching right now going in. Yeah, looks like a little bit of contact from the 18 of Joey McKinney there on the back end of the 98 was enough to send the 98 down a half a lane and into the quarter panel of the 4, causing and bringing out the most recent Roasted Gems caution period right now. What a heartbreaker right now. So right now, just to lay this out, folks, Cody McKinney has had probably 2 of the best restarts that he has had in the 2023 B Martin Sports Truck Series season. And it's not over yet. He's got to do it again as we are under our second attempt of a green-white checkered here. This is, words can't even, don't know what to say. You can't even put words to it, Jason.
Yeah, what was a race that was pretty long and strung out, had one big wreck off turn number 2 involving a few drivers there, like Justin Diltz and others on lap 1 to a long green flag stretch. And then now we're going into the second overtime finish of the night. You see Brandon Elder, heartbreak for him. Unfortunately, not his night. You see Concrete Cobby, Bobby Terrell in his box as well. Not going to be a night that he's going to want to remember for sure. But back up at the front of the field, Cody McKinney, out of the 2 drivers who have practically dominated this entire race and have put on a clinic in their own zip code from the rest of the field, he is the only one standing out of those 2 between him and Bobby Terrell. Richie Coy, currently P2, could steal this one away for his teammate. And Stephen Hollingsworth going to have another shot. Mark Brannigan Jr. 4th. Joey McKinney 5th. Tony Solari, talked about him, Dustin. I said he was going to be up in that top 10, top 5 range. Here he is in 6th. JP Burns 7th. Kyle Milliken back to 8th. Marshall Johnson 9th. And Tyler Granat, after wrecking earlier, causing one of the late race yellows, he is currently sitting right inside the top 10 in P10 right now.
Yeah, a good bounce back for that 81 team right now, especially, I mean, that was hard rear end impact to be sitting in the top 10. That's excellent. You did say that Tony Solari was going to be top 10, top 5 range, and he's sitting there. But a lot could happen. We know Hollingsworth is hungry, up 19 positions right now. Tough break for the 51 of Brandon Elder as he restarted 4th on that last restart. Now in the pits. Out of the pits right now, sitting P13 after he got some damage repaired. But obviously that truck is not going to handle how it has been all race long. So this is going to get interesting right now. Pace lights are still on the car as we sit. And the 28, no surprise here, Jason, electing to restart on that outside. He has to have his 3rd best restart of the 2023 B season in order to get this thing locked in.
Yeah, and I guess with that being said here, we're going to have another 2 laps before we're going to have one more lap. So I'm going to try to get both these in. 1, are you looking for more action over here on Nerd TV? Because we got a whole broadcast, obviously, schedule coming up. Obviously, we have Wednesdays with the Truck Series live at 8:50 p.m. Eastern. Mondays, we have the Mach 1 Performance Cup Series as well at 8:50 p.m. Eastern. And starting July 11th, a new series coming to Nerd TV, the Next Generation Cup Series. That'll be on Tuesdays at 8:50 p.m. Eastern starting on July 11th. And if you want to check out the schedule here in just a second for the Martin Sports Truck Series, these are the next few races here. You see right now we are at Nashville Superspeedway. Next week, Chicagoland, one of the best multi-groove tracks ever. Such a shame they took it off the schedule. Mid-Ohio, New Hampshire, Pocono, Richmond, Michigan, Lucas Oil, Kentucky, and rounding out Season B at Daytona. And that is your Martin Sports Truck Series Season B schedule. But we're getting ready. Second overtime finish here of the night. If it's going to be anything like we saw at Iowa, it's going to be a good one. Maybe somebody could steal some. You see Mark Brannigan Jr. ready to push. Cody McKinney coming into the Geico restart zone. Possibly the final time. Coming down. Green flags back out in the air here from Nashville. Cody McKinney, another great start. But Richie Coy, even with him almost coming into turns 1 and 2, he might have something for McKinney going into 1 and 2. The Haskell, New Jersey native, he's going to have a quarter panel in there off turn number 2. Cody McKinney slides right in front of Richie Coy off turn number 2 in the back.
Yeah, as he does end up clearing him, he has a half a truck length in between him, now a full truck length between him and Richie Coy as they come off of turn 4. Coming to the white flag. White flag will fly. 1 lap to go. Led by the 28 of McKinney. 19 of Richie Coy in tow. Race for third now heating up between Solari and Hollingsworth.
Solari and Hollingsworth right now, side by side. That's going to be the battle for who gets on the podium and gets to talk to us nerds up here in the booth. But so far, it's been all Cody McKinney and Bobby Terrell all night. We thought it was going to be a battle between the two of them. One is out. One comes home. P1, Cody McKinney. Checkered flag. Your Nashville 200 winner, Cody McKinney. Richie Coy, Tony Solari, your top 3 here tonight at Nashville. Cody McKinney, you could just see the thrill. Started right just a few positions behind. Started third. He comes home P1 tonight. Richie Coy +3 from where he started. And Tony Solari, I told you, Dustin. I said he was going to somehow finish up there. Sure enough, the Fury Motorsports driver stole a third-place win away. And Cody McKinney, what a job by him to execute the restarts. Comes home P1 tonight. What a job by him.
Now, when you're right, you are right. Tony Solari out of nowhere brings home the podium. You know, Mom and Dad Solari are out there cheering it on right now. They watch every broadcast, and we love you guys for that. Got to see him bring it home as you're watching the 28 of Cody McKinney burn it down. What a drive there. Excellent finish there. Hollingsworth, your biggest gainer right now, +18, finish P4. Again, look at your top 5, though. You have Cody McKinney up 2 positions from where he started. Richie Coy up 3, but look at the next 3. Solari up 16. Hollingsworth up 18. J.P. Burns rounds out your top 5, up 13. Excellent races by a lot of these drivers.
Excellent races by a lot of these guys, and that's going to let us look at the finishing results here tonight. Obviously, Cody McKinney, your big winner here tonight from the Nashville Superspeedway. Here we go, your official race results. P1, Cody McKinney. 2nd, Richie Coy. 3rd, Tony Solari. 4th, Stephen Hollingsworth. 5th, J.P. Burns. 6th, Tyler Granat. Good rebound after spinning later on in this race to cause a late race yellow. Marshall Johnson comes back to finish 7th. Kyle Milliken 8th. Colby Mice, after getting sideways in front of the field, comes home 9th. Joey McKinney rounds out your top 10.
In 11th, Robert Milikian after that damage. Good rebound there with a heavily damaged truck. Sylvain Jolly, 12th. Brandon Elder comes back with the damaged truck, finishing P13. Mark Brannigan Jr., after restarting in 4th on that last restart, slips up and falls back to P14. Bobby Terrell, heartbreaker there for Concrete Bobby Terrell, finishes P15. Steve Loomis finishes in 16th position. Stephen Allen in 17th. Alan Duranco finishes 18th. Justin Diltz 19th. Rounding out your top 20, James Torrey.
The rest of the guys, 21st tonight, Ryan Chapman, 22nd, TJ Bartell, 23rd, Sherwood Williford, 24th, Michael Blackner, 25th, Austin Gassion, finishing 155 laps down. Well, folks, we are going to go into commercial break. We're going to talk to the top 3 podium finishers in just a second. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back from the conclusion of the Nashville 200. Back, ladies and gentlemen, to our conclusion for post-race interviews here for the Nashville 200. Jason Rockfell alongside my producer and color analyst, Dustin Logston. And sitting here, we're going to move up. Tony Solari, who finished P3 tonight. Tony Solari, welcome up to the Nerd TV broadcast booth, man. I was talking about you. I said, watch out. Tony Solari is somehow, some way going to finish top 10, top 5. Sure enough, man, you did a hell of a job getting up to P3. How did you do it, man?
Well, sometimes you're good and sometimes you're lucky. And, caution flu, you got to roll a dice. This isn't, these ovals, they've never been my strong suit. And, I was just telling Richie down there in Kodia, the only way I could get top 5 out here is you got to kind of game the system. And I do like the new tire rule. It plays a little strategy here too, and it's it's kind of fun for the league. Schluff like me can get up in front and have a little fun and get to talk to you guys.
Yeah, well, man, you had a hell of a drive here tonight. You talk about ovals not being your strong suit, and obviously we go to Chicagoland next week, one of our favorite tracks. Me and Dustin both. I've won. I think that's my most won racetrack on iRacing was Chicagoland. I won a photo finish there.
It's my home track too, and it's garbage.
Well, there you go.
And I hate it.
And you hate it, but with that being said, you talk about the ovals not being your strong suit. You talk about how you hate Chicagoland. I'm gonna act like you didn't say that, but with that being said, you come in here, you finish P3 tonight. How do you take your run from this oval going forward into next week's race at Chicagoland?
Well, Brody's out of town, so I use Brody's setup. I figure we got to have Brody represent somebody on the track. And he loves this track, and he's kind of sad he couldn't be here. So, I went with that setup, and maybe he's got a nice killer setup for Chicago. The truck did feel good, and I was trying to maintain tires in the back of the run, and I had a top 15 at best. And, when the tire strategy came to play, I figured, hey, what the hell? You got to take that gamble, too, when there's only 17, 18 trucks on a track. So, it paid off. You get through it. Those last few cautions probably still would have net me maybe a top 10 if we didn't have them. But, hey, you take them when you can get them. And, this is kind of a fun track. It's one of my more fun track mile and a halfers.
Well, hey, man, with that being said, you come home P3 tonight. Who do you got to thank? Thank your sponsors. Anybody you got to thank here tonight for that P3 run?
Well, definitely got to thank Brody, even though he's on vacation. He's probably out there watching. Got to thank the team, Michael and Richie and Bobby. And got to thank anybody else who's out there watching. I know Mom and Dad are watching. Richie and I already received texts. So, hey, how's it going? And yeah, if I got any other family friends. And, thank you guys too. And thank all the participants that showed up this week. We're back in action this week.
Well, Tony, thank you very much, man, for your time and effort and hard dedication here for the FTSR, man. Thank you very much for the interview. We will see you next week at not so much your favorite track next week in Chicago.
Yeah, thanks. We'll see you guys.
And that was Tony Solari coming home P3 tonight. Next, we're going to talk to my fellow New Jersey native here. We're going to talk to, once I get him, Richie Coy. Gonna move him up. Richie Coy up here in the Nerd TV broadcast booth. Richie, what's going on, man? You finished P2 tonight.
What's up, nerds? Yeah, P2. We'll take it.
Well, there you go, man. You come home P2 tonight. What was your reaction going on those last few restarts? Me and Dustin were up here like, oh my God, this is gonna all hell's gonna break loose. It's gonna get crazy. And sure enough, your teammate gets wrecked. You had no teammate help right there besides Tony coming into that last restart practically. Somehow, some way, he somehow finishes third. I don't know how the heck he does this stuff. But he comes home third. You come home second. What was your reaction to those last few restarts and trying to prep yourself knowing that Cody was so strong on those restarts?
Cody was the least of my worries. He was stronger than I was most of the night. So if I got a good enough restart behind him, I could settle in behind him. It was all the guys with new tires behind me that I was really, really worried about. And I said with the second green, white, checkered flag, I said, well, let's get the green flag and see where I get run over, because that's what I thought was going to happen. But, it worked out. We'll take it.
Well, there you go. You come home P2 tonight, and obviously I just asked your teammate. He says it's one of his least favorite tracks. He hates it, but it's his home track. It's one of his home tracks at least. You go to Chicagoland next week. I love that track. Dustin loves that track. How do you take tonight's run and moving forward into Chicagoland next week, which is a tire conservation racetrack, but also could be multi-groove too, and the restarts are hectic. What are your thoughts going into Chicagoland next week?
We're just going to take it like every other race. We're gonna, as a team, we're gonna go in, try to put our best foot forward, and get the best finish we can. And if that's a win, that's a win. If it's a top five, it is what it is. So, our team works really hard each week. Michael Blackner, Tony, Bobby, and Brody, who's on vacation this week. But we work really hard as a team together to try to put the best product out there that we can. And we had Bobby up front all night. I was up front all night. Tony came on at the end. So I think we do it, and that's what we're going to do. We're just going to go in and do the best we can.
Well, there you go, man. You come home P2 tonight. Who do you got to thank for this great run here tonight? That number 19 Ford F-150.
I got to thank whoever gave me the good set of tires there at the end to try to keep up with the top two. Thank my team. They did a great job again tonight. Sorry for Bobby there for what happened at the end. I didn't even get a chance to go back and look at it yet. I know he got contact from behind. Thanks to Tony's mom and dad for watching as always. Thanks for all the fans watching, and thanks to the nerds.
Thank you, Mr. Coy, for the kind words. As always, we will see you next week from the virtual Chicagoland Speedway. Congratulations on your second place run, my friend.
All right. Thanks, guys.
That was Richie Coy driving the number 19 for Fury Motorsports. Now we're going to bring in tonight's race winner. We thought it was going to be a battle between him and Concrete Bobby Terrell. Mr. Bobby Terrell not doing it tonight. Unfortunately, gets caught up in an incident. So tonight, Cody McKinney comes out on top with tonight's victory. Cody, how does it feel holding off the field with those last few restarts, man?
A lot more stressful than I was hoping.
Yeah, we saw it right there from the virtual cockpit. And also, thank you, by the way, for providing the virtual cockpit cam here tonight. It was fun to see you wheeling and dealing, man. Obviously, this is a driver's racetrack. What made this track so good for you here tonight coming into Nashville? Because a lot of drivers just like Dover, you either A, you like this track, or B, you dislike this track. Not only because it's a one groove racetrack, but just because it's a driver's racetrack, and it's kind of like a mind game. You got to play with yourself and the tires and the grooves. What made tonight so good for you guys to have this good of a run with you guys in the truck?
I think it's just the tire saving aspect of it. Over the past year or so, I've made it a priority to learn how to save tires as much as I can without giving up too much speed. Um, and really, it's just for some reason with the 3K I rating, I get put in splits and C open with Road to Pro drivers and high strength of field races. So whenever that comes about, I take the time to after the race try and observe what they're doing and see what I can improve on to just get better.
Yeah, man, it's definitely a way of learning. I've done that myself. My good buddy Kenny Brady actually used to help me a lot with that with tire conservation. So I get what you mean with the top splits and stuff like that, and racing with the Road to Pro guys. And obviously, you talk about tire conservation next week. I already talked to the previous two finishers behind you because you were number one today, obviously, my friend. You go to Chicagoland Speedway next week. How do you take tonight's victory, transfer it over into next week's momentum going into Chicago?
I'm kind of nervous on that one because we don't race there anymore, so it's gonna be a little bit of an unknown going back, just because we don't normally we don't get officials there anymore. So so it's gonna be a little tricky and just trying to figure out how you can push the truck and just kind of walk that tightrope without stepping over or falling off the tightrope, so to say. But it should be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
There you go, Mr. McKinney. You come home first tonight, man. Anybody you got to thank here for this great victory tonight from the virtual Nashville Superspeedway?
Yeah, everybody behind the scenes. Joey, he helped me run our team. He had a great top five going there, and Scott Lewis coming out of four, coming to the finish, but still finished 10th for him. Finally, a little bit of good luck went his way tonight. Nick for doing an amazing job on the up top spotting and crew chiefing. Y'all for broadcasting the series, the league and Martin Sports for putting this together, and everybody behind the scenes with them.
Well, Cody, congratulations, man, on your victory here tonight from the virtual Nashville Superspeedway. We'll see you next week from Chicagoland. Congratulations, man, and you have a good night.
Appreciate it. Y'all do the same.
That was Cody McKinney, driver, the number 28, coming home P1 tonight after a dominating performance between him and Concrete Cobby Terrell. Unfortunate circumstances. Man, Dustin, another one, man. What's your take on tonight's final thoughts on tonight's race here from Nashville?
Oh, I tell you what, it was a nail biter down to the end. I mean, these guys definitely know how to keep us on the edge of our seats. That's for damn sure. Excellent restarts, good racing. Unfortunate heartache. I mean, we had, excellent stories. We had the heartache. We had excellent racing. We had the drama of racing. We had everything there. You were right. When you're right, you're right. You said Tony Solari was going to be top 10, top 5, and he's podium. The two drivers that I sat here and pegged for the win finished 1 and 2. So I'd say that overall it was a good night for everyone. So except for those that obviously didn't have the best of luck.
And obviously, I mean, a lot of drivers had a lot of issues going later on in the race, and it was just calamity going on. We thought it was going to be a long, strung-out race. Strategy obviously played factor, but then late in the race, you had those late race cautions, and unfortunately, it provides finishes like this. Guys who had the opportunity to rebound after earlier mistakes, guys who had the chance, like Tony Solari, to overtake those guys having accidents after being in the back to mid-pack all race long. He comes home P3, and Cody McKinney, dominant performance. He says he's scared for next week. I wouldn't be scared if I was him because he's always a fast driver. But with that being said, going to thank tonight's sponsors. Obviously, you have Full Throttle Sim Racing, obviously being the premier racing league here. Starting in 2006, FTSR has built foundations on solid premier racing and unbiased administrator, and FTSR has built a following that has lasted the test of a lifetime. You can visit them at ftsr.net. Mach 1 Performance, also, got to thank them. They are a race car fabrication shop that has produced champions and winners in all sorts of racing division. You can visit them on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Mach 1 Performance. Sim Racing Points for one of the greatest points and websites ever. Hit up Brandon Elder, for everything. I mean, he's such a good guy doing everything over there. And Sim Racing Points is an all-inclusive league points management system that allows the ability to completely track their league statistics and points with a simple upload. You can visit them at simracingpoints.com. Martin Sports, can't forget about Scott Martin and them over at Martin Sports. Top quality apparel to make you look stylish and feel super, super comfortable, I promise, folks. You can see the whole apparel lineup at martinsports.gg or martinsports906.com. iRacing iFlag, you can get the notifications fractions of a second faster, all without your focus ever leaving the racing action on iRacing. You can visit iRacingIFlag.com for the full product line that they offer. The butt kicker, you can get the ultimate feel of a race car with haptic response from the butt kicker. You can visit thebuttkicker.com to see a full line of haptic products for your sim rig for sim racing. Team Watson Racing setups. You can get quality professional built setups for all your asphalt oval needs. You can visit teamwatsonracing.com for pricing and packages on setups. And last but not least, because who doesn't love a good cup of coffee? Roasted Gems Coffee. Premium coffee beans roasted just for you. And you can start the day right with a cup of coffee from Roasted Gems Coffee. You can visit roastedgems.com to get a taste. With that being said, that's obviously going to bring a conclusion for tonight's event here from the virtual Nashville Superspeedway. You can catch the trucks next week, same time, same place, same action as always from the Chicagoland Speedway. You can catch Monday, I believe the Mach 1 Performance Cup Series is on Monday, same time as well. But with that being said, folks, for everybody over at the FTSR, iRacing, Nerd TV, Jeremy, Dustin, myself, everybody, telling you to stay safe. Always make sure to be nice to people. Have a great night. I'm Jason Rockfelt. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to tonight's broadcast, and always remember to get your nerd on.